Okay, so there's some major economic news that just dropped, really shaking things up already. We're talking about former President Donald Trump making a pretty significant announcement. It's about a revamped trade deal
Yeah.
between the U.S. and the EU. And our sources, we've got a report here from Emily Johnson, News 24/7 USA. It really highlights how fast this is moving, sending immediate shockwaves, apparently. Yeah, we're seeing stock futures already reacting, they're rising, and analysts, well, they're jumping on it pretty quickly, calling it a potential game changer.
Right.
So what's really going on with this immediate buzz? That's what we want to explore in this deep dive. We're going to, unpack the announcement itself, look at those market reactions our sources describe, and then pivot to what happens next, because there are already steps in motion according to the material.
Yeah, and what I find really interesting is how the source makes a point of this. It stresses that this isn't framed as just, a proposal or simply talks.
Right.
Former President Trump announced an agreement, something already reached with European leaders on this deal.
Oh, okay.
And that distinction, that's really crucial for understanding why the market reacted the way it did.
That is a key distinction, yeah. And it wasn't slow, was it? The market response, it was immediate, tangible. That quick jump in stock futures you mentioned,
Yeah,
those are basically bets on where the market's heading, right?
exactly. Forward-looking.
So that jump signals investors are recalibrating fast. It's like the market saying, okay, we think this is real. This could actually happen.
Uh-huh.
And that immediate, almost knee-jerk reaction, it just shows how much weight investors still put on announcements from someone like Trump. His policy statements, historically, they've definitely shown they can reshape trade narratives almost instantly.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
that game changer label the analysts are using, that's really telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
When they use language like that, what are they really getting at? Is it about maybe fundamentally challenging the existing trade blocs, setting new precedents for these kinds of international deals, or maybe signaling a shift away from, more protectionist stances we've seen? The source seems to point towards the implication of a fundamental reshaping. Trade relations between two huge economic players, the U.S. and the EU, that's a massive chunk of global GDP and trade we're talking about.
Absolutely.
That kind of sentiment, it's not just noise, it can actually drive further action itself.
It certainly can. And the source material, it doesn't just stop there. With the announcement and the market buzz, it points very clearly to a next step. Trump is apparently set to meet the UK Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, in Ayrshire, of all places, to push this further. So this isn't just US-EU anymore, is it? What does bringing the UK into the picture suggest, about the scope of this revamped deal?
That's a really critical detail, I think. It broadens things significantly. It indicates this announcement is likely part of something bigger, a larger strategic push that's ongoing.
Okay.
It suggests this initial agreement might be sort of a foundation for wider talks, or maybe new alignments, potentially integrating the UK into a new framework somehow, or maybe even just laying a groundwork for a separate US-UK deal down the line.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely not the end of the story. Could be a very impactful new chapter starting.
It really makes you wonder about the specifics, though, doesn't it? This revamped deal. Our source here, Emily Johnson's report, it's a bit light on the actual terms, the nitty-gritty details.
Understandably, at this early stage.
Right. But the word revamped itself implies a pretty major change from whatever came before. What kind of changes would justify that immediate market excitement and that, game changer talk? Are we talking tariffs, regulatory stuff, new market access? What's got investors excited?
Well, and that's the thing. The core of the news right now, as the report seems to emphasize, is the existence of an agreement and its perceived impact. It's more about the signal than the substance, at least initially.
So the who and the what, more than the how.
Precisely. It highlights just how much that initial shockwaves is driven by the announcement itself and the players involved, especially figures who, as you said, have a history of influencing global trade talks. The market's reacting to the potential, to the signal, not necessarily the fine print just yet.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap what we've pulled out from the source material today. We've got the big announcement, former President Donald Trump stating there's a revamped US-EU trade deal agreed upon. This news immediately sparked a pretty strong positive reaction in the stock market's futures went up. And analysts jumped in, labeling it a potential game changer, suggesting, a major shift in global trade dynamics.
And looking forward, the source is quite specific about the immediate next step. It explicitly states former President Trump is set to meet UK PM Rishi Sunak in Ayrshire to push this further, which points to the next move in this whole thing and hints at that broader strategy we talked about.
Right. So it leaves us with that central question, really, which comes right out of the source material itself. This trade deal, will it ultimately deliver actual, real economic growth, tangible benefits? Or is it just going to be another ripple in the market? A flash of enthusiasm tied to headlines that doesn't really lead to a lasting economic shift.
That's the core tension, isn't it?
It really is. And it encourages you, the listener, to think about how we distinguish between those things. The immediate market reactions, rising stock futures, analyst buzz, versus the long-term fundamental economic changes that may or may not actually follow. Definitely something to keep in mind, something to ponder as this story continues to develop.